Hi, this is Raghee Horner. I'm the Chief Currency Analyst at Interbank FX, and we're going to talk about a tool that I developed called GRaB candles. Now, GRaB candles are inspired by Japanese candlesticks, and I've used those for years. One of the challenges I found having to watch and analyze and view multiple charts across multiple screens was that I needed a better visual footprint than simply the traditional black and white or green and red Japanese candles. I wanted a better view of momentum. I wanted a better view of sentiment, especially when it might be in a transitional time, when we might be going from a bullish sentiment and momentum to neutral, or a bearish sentiment and momentum to maybe a quick switch to bullish. Whatever the case may be, I needed a better way to gauge these visually without having to necessarily draw trend lines or use other kinds of indicators. Colors have a wonderful footprint. You can glance at a chart, and based upon whether you see green or red or blue, you can get a good idea of how long the sentiment or momentum has been bullish or bearish or neutral. And therefore, with the culmination of a series of a certain color GRaB candle, I might then be able to ascertain whether or not a trend might be likely or if a trend is being confirmed. So really, GRaB candles and my 34 EMA wave are tools that I will always use together. However, talking specifically about GRaB, we're talking about the sentiment and momentum part of the equation. And that equation I'm talking about is something I call sentiment plus momentum equals trend. And I really should qualify that by saying organized sentiment plus momentum equals trend. Because when we have enough bullish sentiment, we have bullish momentum. And with enough bullish momentum that's able to push to higher highs, we have an uptrend. On the flip side, with enough bearish momentum, we will eventually, if we're pushing to lower lows, have a downtrend. So the organization of that sentiment and momentum is very important to me. Let me explain how these GRaB candles are plotted. If the candles close above the 34 period EMA high, they will plot green. And you'll notice I have two shades of green here. The lighter shade of green should mimic a green candle or a unshaded candle indicating a higher close, while the darker shade of green indicates a lower close. So they're both closes above the 34 period EMA high, but this is more akin to keeping the spirit of traditional hollow and shaded in Japanese candles. The lighter shade of all the colors, whether it be green, red, or blue, is the up close, the higher close. The darker shade of green, red, or blue is the down close, akin to a red candle or a shaded in traditional Japanese candle. So I'm able to keep that higher or lower close with the different shades of the green, the red, or the blue. The other thing to remember about GRaB candles is they are very expressive. Again, use the visual cue you get from GRaB by glancing at your time frames and seeing if a green, a red, or a blue is dominating not only past price action, but current price action. And when you do see a succession of the same color candles, remember that you're likely dealing with either a trend or significant organization of sentiment and momentum. Case in point, the Aussie US dollar that I have here in front of us. Take a look at the daily chart here. Not only with the 34 EMA wave, but also the succession of the green GRaB candles, we can see we have what is bullish sentiment, bullish momentum, and it's organized into a 12 to 2 o'clock uptrend on my 34 EMA wave. The reason I love this example is because yesterday we had an RBA rate decision and statement. And my take on that event was to either stay out of the market because it is going to potentially be a volatile time, or follow the trend, which was up on the daily chart, which indicates a bullish directional bias. And that means I can trend follow this 4-hour time frame that's been moving up in an uptrend, 12 to 2 o'clock uptrend, very smoothly for some time with good dynamic support at the wave. So the pullback that we had into the wave yesterday preceding the RBA rate decision and announcement had me in a long position. I was following the sentiment of the green GRaB candles, not only on the daily but the 4-hour chart, and therefore I felt that the larger, more dominant psychology was on my side, which made sense as to why I would want to remain long if I was going to take a position at all. And this is how GRaB candles help. They help drive home and make very visually clear what the sentiment and momentum is. And when you add the 34 EMA wave to the approach, then you have a clear view of sentiment, momentum, and trend.